Hi everyone, so today I wanted to paint an orchid which I have in my living room sitting on the fireplace, and it's an orchid that is gorgeous because it's got sort of like a vanilla kind of peachy beautiful petals with a beautiful violet center, and it doesn't flower very often compared to my other orchids, and when it flowers it only gives me maybe 4 or 5 at the max blooms, so it's quite special. And so today I feel like painting it because the first flower is open and it's been open for about a week, so it looks beautiful and luscious and gorgeous. So I thought I'll use up these colors here that you saw me you saw me using it in a couple of videos, and basically I just hate throwing watercolors out. I just hate it, I don't know, and so I try to use up every little last bit of paint that I have, and that's why I like using these tear off palettes so that I can work my way through it. The other thing I was going to say, sometimes when the watercolors dry hard on this paper, the tear off, it's kind of like a resist paper, so nothing sticks to it, so when it dries hard on this tear off palette it tends to crack and then I throw it out. However, the Graham paints, which are these ones, they are the Quinacridone Set, and they obviously are not cracking because they have honey in them, so touching them still now you know, you can get some paint off. So same thing with this plate, I don't want to waste any of these lovely colors right here, so I'll try to use them up. I think except for these two, the green and the red, that was Daniel Smith, and this was Winsor and Newton Sap Green. So I'll try to use up the Graham paint. So I have done a very quick illustration of the orchid right here, and I'm just going to go in and do it. And the reason I haven't done it free-handed this time is because of the petals overlapping, and you know, if you're just going to do it with water instead of pencil, so wetting the paper first, it just might get a little bit muddled up, so that is why I didn't do it. I've got the lovely yellow, the quinacridone, the nickel quinacridone gold, and it's just perfect. Now I will start here, dry on wet, like so, and I kind of want it to be a little bit more abstract, and what I mean by that is I want to kind of make it a bit more interesting, not just what I see there, but be daring. So just going to leave some areas in here. While the watercolor is still wet, I'm just going to dab it on and let it do the magic, and then I will move on to the next petal, again starting wet on dry just on the corner, and then washing my brush out and making sure I squeeze out as much water as I can, and then trying to wash it out, and then touching it in certain areas, because what's going to happen is the water is going to shoot out, so that area here is going to get paler for that reason, because it's all going to have a space to flow into now, and then we are going to have a nice concentration here at the tip because it's flowing down. I hope that makes sense. And then next one is this one, the Quinacridone nickel gold. No, sorry, the nickel Quinacridone gold. It's a mouthful to say. is a lovely color. It's very, very bright. If you like your yellows to be quite bright, I would highly recommend you try this one. So I'm going to dab that in and then start here. So on the picture, it is not necessarily what I'm doing right here. So I'm kind of making the tip darker, and the coming to the center, it's a little bit lighter here. But in fact, it's almost the opposite on the picture. So what I'm trying to do is just looking at certain colors and try to mimic them, but remain my own kind of style, if that makes sense. So that should be it for now. I'll let it dry a little bit before I do anything else. And there is this lovely bit of yellow just here, and a little bit, not too much, over here. Okay, and then the lovely bit of tongue, which has this sort of like a spiky bit, is a lighter color compared to the rest. So I'm just going to do it like that and leave it to dry, and then once I go with a darker color, I then will go around it, if that makes sense. Now I've got a little bit of this yellow left right here. I'm going to mix it with that color there and the rust green, and just again do it on one side like so. Now with foliage and the greens, it's always a little bit challenging because you have to make sure that you really mix different tones of green so that you avoid having your green part looking quite flat. So I will do that. It's in fact, I just had some of that violet sitting next to the sub green, and it really made it a beautiful deep kind of color, as you can see. So I've never actually tried mixing violets with greens, but it's a lovely color. Okay, so while this is still a little bit wet, I am going to just try to create this blush that the orchid has on the petals, just a little bit here and there. And that obviously will be quite loose while it is still wet, and that's exactly what I want. Okay, so it's nice and dry. Now, I just wanted to tell you something. So the paper I'm using, or the sketchbook, is this sketchbook, which is the, hold on, I still have that little insert here, which is the Alpha series from Stillman and Birn. And because it's an Alpha series, the paper is bit thinner than the Beta series. So the Beta series is supposed to be more suitable for watercolors. So this one is 150 GSM, and the other one, if I'm not mistaken, is I think 270 GSM. Anyway, so I wanted to try, it says here light wash, so it's not meant to take a lot of water, but I did want to try it, and I think I used a bit too much water, because what happened here, some of the watercolor from the previous page transferred to this page after I did this illustration. So in this book I want to do something every page, if that makes sense. And yeah, I'm not sure whether that would actually create a bit of, you know, mess if I would, for example, do that on every single page. But I just want this sketchbook to be workhorse, and I will try to switch off that sort of pedantic kind of neatness in this sketchbook, but we'll see. So let's have a look at the watercolors, and I wanted to show you this gorgeousness in the bud. I hope it will focus. Nope, it does not want. Here we go. Can you see how gorgeous this is? So the Quinacridone Rust from the M. Graham watercolors, which are the swatches right here. So this is this color. It just granulates beautifully and separates, it seems, in other watercolors. So this is the watercolor set that I used in this illustration. There is, by the way, a first impressions and swatches and all of these transparency and disperse test video if you're interested to see. Yes, so basically where I dabbed it on, so here as well, it's separated beautifully and granulated beautifully. So wherever I have used it, here as well, it's just done some gorgeous effects. So if you like this type of thing, I think you'd enjoy it. So that's my orchid for now, and I think I will do a separate video on kind of trying to take this orchid to another level in terms of just try and be a bit more daring and free and all of that good stuff. And I might use some ink pens or some pencils and just go wild. I don't know whether I'll prefer the later version of this orchid, but you basically can either stop here, or there will be the next video that will come up in a couple of days, will be the kind of video that will show you how you can create something a little bit more different and use this as a base. So thanks for watching, and see you soon.